In the world of high school warfare, some guys are just built different. He was the uncrowned king of Téjun, a one-man army whose very existence kept the regional conflicts at bay. But all legends must come to an end. With the old king dethroned, the chains were broken, and the entire city's fate was thrown into chaos. A new storm was brewing, and everyone was asking, what's the next move? To understand that, you gotta look at the people around our guy first. And at the eye of this storm, Daegun, our protagonist, is currently MIA from school. Where is Daegun? He's not answering his phone, not reading my messages. His friends are starting to panic. What they don't realize yet is that his absence isn't just a skip class. It's the beginning of a catastrophe for their school. A quick flashback, a silhouette full of guilt. Out of the three of us, I was the screw-up. Running away seemed to be his default setting. Am I running away again? This heavy past is the reason for his silence now. Back to the present, the panic is spreading. Daegun isn't here, and neither is Suyuk. Jimong High is in crisis. Yep, when the lion leaves his territory, the hyenas get bold. The schools so-called for heavenly kings are still around, but can they really hold the line? One of these kings, on Hagon, is currently keeping the peace in his own unique way. With his ears covered and his foot on some poor schmuck's shoulder, he scoffs, "'Cause you're too damn loud." These guys have style, sure, but when a real crisis hits, they seem a bit out of their league. The real threat is already at the gates. On the other side of town, the guys from High have seized this golden opportunity. The absence of a leader. I wonder what kind of ripple effects that will bring. And they're not just messing around. These guys are mobilizing for war. We can move in units of 800 people. The time to take over Téjun is finally here. Their leader flashes a confident, chilling smile. An all-out war that could engulf the entire city is about to ignite. They see Daegun's rise as a sign of ultimate disrespect. After he became the leader, he didn't even bother to show his face to us. This guy thinks we're losers. The old guard is furious, and they're about to give the new king a welcoming party he won't forget. So, where's our missing protagonist in all this? He's at Téjun Station, enjoying, well, a vacation of sorts with a red-haired girl. Wow, so this is Téjun? Let's go buy their famous bread. The girl is bouncing with excitement, while Daegun remains as stoic as ever. But even on vacation, trouble has a way of finding him. Some punk bumps into him and tries to start something. You should apologize if you bump into someone, don't you think? Daegun just calmly says, sorry about that. But his eyes, that glare alone sends a chill down the guy's spine. You just can't hide the aura of an apex predator. The red-haired girl seems completely used to this, even cracking a joke. When you're correcting someone, you have to give them a good smack to make it feel right. It's obvious these two aren't on a normal couple's trip. They've got a strange chemistry, like seasoned partners in crime. The girl complains about how stiff Daegun is, but drops a crucial piece of info. The teamwork on the mission is solid, though. That's right, this isn't a vacation. It's a mission. The Bully in Charge project, assigned by the Foundation, is officially underway. And they find their first target soon enough. The girl kicks open the door, taking out the guard in one clean move. The right place, right? She asks with a grin, as a hulking figure inside prepares for a fight. The next second, Daegun makes his move. No wasted words, just pure power and speed. A single, heavy blow sends a guy flying. The whole thing is so fluid, so fast, you can barely even see it happen. The fight is over just like that. The girl gives an enthusiastic thumbs up, while Daegun looks like it was just another Tuesday. Who's that girl? The target doesn't even have time to process what happened before he's completely crushed. Daegun kneels down to begin his interrogation. Are you the eraser? He's not asking for a name, but a code name. He's hunting a piece of the underground puzzle, and the defeated man can only weakly admit it. Tell me, I heard you fought Daegun before. A smirk plays on his lips. Compared to Park Hee-jun, he's gathering intel, weighing the value of every piece on the board. This isn't just about violence. It's about cold, hard calculation. What answer were you even expecting? The girl asks after it's all over. Daegun replies coldly. Whatever he said would have been the wrong answer. His goal wasn't the information itself, but to confirm the man's ignorance, to confirm he was no longer useful. That level of coldness sends a shiver down even his partner's spine. Meanwhile, the friends back at Jimong High are still stressing about Daegun's absence. They have no idea that an all-out invasion, orchestrated by Bangyun Tech, has already begun. Street punks start mugging Jimryong students left and right. Just an appetizer before the main course. Have the Bangyun guys gone insane? Could it be they noticed Daegun's absence? You bet they did. With the king away, the jesters try to claim the throne. And the students of Jimryong High have just become lambs for the slaughter. His friends decide they can't just sit back and watch. They're going to confront the Bangyun crew themselves. I'll keep trying to get in touch with Daegun, the glasses-wearing strategist says calmly, but they all know it's a losing battle without their ace. Just as Jimong High is on the brink of collapse, Bangyun Tech's top fighters finally make their appearance. They've locked onto Daegun's friends, and an ambush with overwhelming odds is about to begin. Target locked, commencing purge. It's a one-sided beatdown. A total wash. Daegun's friends fight back with everything they've got, but against this level of power, it's useless. An incapable ally is more dangerous than a capable enemy. The Bangyun guys laugh, enjoying the hunt. The strategist is taken down, desperately trying to make a call that won't connect. Just when he thinks it's all over, a familiar yet unwelcome figure stands before him. Where are you off to in such a rush? The newcomer is one of Bangyun Tech's high rankers and his former teacher. The story seems to have hit a dead end. But don't forget, our boy Daegun is on his way back. And an unexpected ally has just entered the picture. A blonde-haired kid, once defeated by Daegun, who now holds a certain respect for him. The blonde kid finds the Bangyun crew, asking about the situation in Téjun. The school that controls Téjun, Jimong High, is taking over everything. The flames of war are spreading to every corner of the city. Bangyun's plan is meticulous. They've even united the bosses of all the other schools in Téjun to form an anti-Jimryong alliance. First, we take down Jimong High, the biggest threat. Then, we'll decide who the new king is. It's a massive trap, laid specifically for Daegun. However, a lone figure appears before the allied forces. It's Daegun. Your little brain game's in here. From now on, you'll be using your body more than your brain, his opponent scoffs. They actually think numbers are enough to drown a legend. But then comes the twist. A different blonde guy, someone Daegun once considered a friend, stands in his way. You gave up everything all of a sudden? Your absence is the reason for all of this. The accusation hits Daegun harder than any physical blow. It turns out, Daegun's departure created the very power vacuum that Bangyun exploited. He thought he could just finish his mission and leave, but he's already trapped in the vortex of fate. His attempt to run away only caused an even bigger disaster. You've done well. Daegun pats his friend's shoulder, the hesitation in his eyes gone. But this time, I'm not running away again. He calmly turns and walks toward the heart of the battlefield. He makes a call to the Foundation. The Bully in Charge project. Why don't we extend it? He's no longer a passive pawn. He's about to become the one who makes the rules. The hunt is over. Daegun's war has just begun. Daegun declared war. But this war didn't start with a single trumpet blast or a grand declaration. It started like a virus, spreading through every dark alley of the city at once. He'd extended the Foundation's project, and the hunt list just went infinite. Overnight, the entire underworld was thrown into chaos. The petty kings who once ruled their own turfs were now forced into an anti-Daegun alliance. Their logic was simple. When there's a common, unbeatable enemy, you team up. A red-haired guy with shade from Jimong High stepped up as the de facto leader of this makeshift coalition, proclaiming, "We aren't the bad guys. We're just creating order in a world without a boss." And their order was chaos itself. The entire city became a battlefield, erupting in countless skirmishes where everyone was fighting for survival. They lived by a simple, brutal code: an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Violence was the only currency that mattered. Face all of them. That's just insane. Even Daegun's own friend thought the plan was suicidal. But the red-haired leader just smirked, speaking to the air as much as to some unseen enemy. You aren't the fighting type, huh? Or do you think it's unfair for all of us to gang up on one? Their methods were dirty, but effective. Since they couldn't find Daegun himself, they vented their fury on anyone associated with Jimong High. Some poor blonde kid became their target, just for being from the wrong school. "Where do you think you're going?" they sneered, blocking his path. The blonde kid wasn't a pushover, dropping a few grunts in a flash. But they had numbers, and their leader, a bulky redhead, slammed him to the ground. "Who do you think you are? The boss of Jimryong?" And just then, a shadow fell over them. "Is that so?" The voice was terrifyingly calm. Before the redhead could even react, he was lifted and slammed into the pavement by an immense force. Daegun was back. "I'm the one in charge of Bullies," he declared, looking down at the trash on the floor. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, two other blonde kids are having a smoke break. "You really gonna sell the bike?" "Yeah, gotta make some money now that I quit school." The other one grins cheekily. "So if you run into Daegun, can I borrow it?" "No, why not? I got a reputation to protect, man. They'll know it's not yours." Suddenly, a guy with glasses rushes past them. The blonde kid stops him, his phone screen displaying a live GPS tracker. You headed to Téjun. He saw right through the guy's plan. I'll help you. Turns out, this was all part of Daegun's strategy. He'd already started gathering his old crew. Daegun's friend, Lim Daeman, is fighting a lone battle on another front. Surrounded by dozens of enemies, the situation is grim. There are too many, and he's not picking up. He grits his teeth, preparing for a fight to the death. The enemies taunt him, confident in their numbers. This buzzing is so distracting. Daeman roars, charging back into the fray. But even the opposing red-haired leader can see it. It may be too much for us to handle. Even an elite fighter has his limits against a tidal wave of bodies. Just as Daemon's stamina is about to give out, a deafening engine roar cuts through the night. It's coming. A beat-up white truck plows into the crowd like a mad bull. A truck? Is it on our side? No, it's not. It's trying to crush US. The enemy formation instantly shatters into chaos. The truck door swings open, and a burly, bearded man and a guy with glasses step out. The driver, Lim Daeman, former boss of Incheon, Jimong High, and owner of a legendary speeding record. The passenger, Gu Sunghwa, the very man who was being tracked. Daegun's reinforcements have arrived in the most insane way possible. The blonde kid stares at his sudden saviors, completely bewildered. Where do you come from? The man with glasses simply adjusts his frames and calmly states, we drove from Incheon to Téjun. So fast, in fact, that the ride gave the blonde kid motion sickness. This isn't just backup. It's a literal deus ex machina on wheels. On that speeding truck, Daegun and his new allies had a conversation. I'm not going to make the same mistakes again. The hesitation was gone from Daegun's eyes. The problems I couldn't solve in the past, I'll solve them with the future. This time, I'm the one making the decisions. The driver chuckles. Well, I can see the selfish part is still with you. But you did change. This wasn't the Foundation's mission anymore. This was Kwon Daegun's own war. He was no longer a pawn bound by the rules. He was about to become the one who writes them. When Daegun finally arrived at the battlefield, the Bangun Alliance was waiting. They thought this was a group hunt, a performance of the many against the one. What could he do on his own? I'm so curious. They sneered, ready to put on a show. But they quickly realized they weren't the hunters. They were the livestock lined up for slaughter. Daegun felt like his body had gone rusty, but this was just a warm-up. Body's kind of stiff, he remarked, casually dismantling the first wave of attackers. What followed was a one-sided beatdown. Fists, kicks, blocks, every single one of his movements was textbook perfect. Wooden bats were like toothpicks against him, and their so-called elites couldn't even last a single exchange. If you're not going to fight, get out of the way, he said coldly, kicking aside someone blocking his path. A murmur rippled through the crowd as fear spread like a plague. How many guys did he just finish? The leaders of the Bangun Alliance finally decided they couldn't just stand by. This isn't a face-off, it's a lynch. They decided to jump him all at once. The musclehead, the bald guy, Mr. Tattoo, these guys who were kings in their own schools now had faces etched with dread. I couldn't believe the rumors, the ones saying you won against Baek Suyak. The bald giant trembled. However, now that I see you in person, before he could finish, Daegun's fist was already buried in his chest. The force was so immense it felt like it could knock his very soul out of his body. The fight was over in an instant. When the dust settled, only Daegun was left standing. Around him lay a field of former bosses. His friends watched from a distance, completely stunned. What the hell just happened? Nothing's different, the girl beside them analyzed calmly. They're no different from anyone else Daegun has beaten before. In front of him, they're all just extras. Kwon Daegun had transcended the level of boss. He was a glitch in the system, a walking disaster. But Daegun's war wasn't only fought on the battlefield. A punk named Kim Taeyong was harassing a girl with glasses. You didn't forget, did you? My sweet offer. He whispered in her ear, his tone greasy and disgusting. A childhood joke had become a living nightmare. If you're with a strong man like me, you'll have fun too. Taeyong's face was plastered with a sleazy grin. The next second, that grin froze. A fist materialized out of nowhere and slammed into his face. Daegun stood behind him, his eyes like ice. The girl covered her mouth, unable to watch. Don't look at me, in such a weak state. Her mind was in turmoil. But Daegun just stood calmly in front of her, absorbing all the violence and ugliness on her behalf. He wasn't just in charge of bullies. He was a protector. Daegun's return sent the Bangun Alliance into a full-blown panic. Their grand union crumbled to dust, leaving only Bangun High standing alone. What do we do now? For the first time, the red-haired leader felt true despair. But their strategist, a long-haired man, proposed a crazy plan. There's always opportunity in crisis. Let's set up a big game and settle things once and for all. He decided to lay a trap, one designed specifically for Daegun. That big game you mentioned, are you giving up already? The Bangyun grunts mocked Daegun's friends who had arrived as backup. But they had no idea. Daegun was already one step ahead, walking straight into the heart of the trap alone. The trap was simple. They kidnapped the girl with the glasses. The perfect bait to get to Daegun, the mastermind gloated. The girl was shocked and confused. Why me? I have nothing to do with him. Don't play dumb with us. He cut her off coldly. Who would risk coming here for someone who has nothing to do with them? The girl's question was on everyone's mind. But Daegun, he was exactly the kind of fool who would walk into the lion's den for a nobody. He got the message, said nothing, and headed to Bangyun High alone. Daegun, where are you going? His friends tried to stop him. I'll be back soon. He left them with nothing but a resolute back. They knew they couldn't stop him. All they could do was become the support he needed. Hack into Bangyun Tech High surveillance system. His friends sprang into action, becoming his eyes and ears. They navigated for him from behind a screen, feeding him real-time enemy locations. Daegun, take the hallway on the left, go to the end. Following their instructions, Daegun arrived at a door. I'm here. Hanging up now. He pushed the door open. Inside was a massive training room where Bangyun High's elite forces, their 12 top rankers, were already waiting. You really came on your own. A long-haired woman sneered. This will be very different from the junkyard. Daegun just looked at them calmly, not a ripple of emotion in his eyes. They put a lot of effort into preparing this trap. So, come at me. These guys were monsters, survivors of Bangyun High's hellish internal ranking battles. Each one of them was a force to be reckoned with. They gathered here for one reason, to get a taste of the legendary man who took down Baek Suyak. The battle ignited instantly. A redhead lunged first, aiming a vicious kick at Daegun's head. But his foot was caught effortlessly. The next second, he was sent flying like a broken kite. Got you. Daegun didn't even bother to give him a second glance. A muscle-bound giant followed up, his fist whistling through the air. Daegun sidestepped and hammered a volley of punches into his gut and face. The giant didn't even have a chance to block before he crashed to the floor. He finished 2 top rankers in just 2 blows. The spectators gasped. Okay, time to stop having fun. The remaining rankers exchanged glances and decided to swarm him. Wrestlers, boxers, judo masters, experts from every discipline attacked from all sides. But Daegun's expression remained unchanged. This will end quickly. What happened next could no longer be called a fight. It was art, a ballet of violence. Daegun weaved through the crowd, every strike landing perfectly on a vital point. It was like he could predict everyone's moves like a student who already had the answer key, just acing an exam with overwhelming force. Soon, all 12 of the so-called top rankers were lying on the floor. Daegun stood in the center, completely unscathed, his breathing steady. His friends watching from the monitor were speechless. It's like I'm watching a movie. How can he do that? However, while Daegun was cleaning up the main stage, the rescue team on the other side ran into trouble. A massive man blocked their path, a predatory grin spreading across his face. Oh, what do we have here? The hunter becomes the hunted. The real crisis has only just begun.